Hi, everyone. This is Brad Wade, and thank you for joining me on this keynote and this talk called the next digital frontier, exploring the fusion of Web3 and AI integration. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Dev3 and everybody, Dilip and his team, everybody for all the hard work you've put in to pull off this amazing conference. And so thank you so much. Thank you everyone who's watching and joining with me today, wherever you are in the world. I'm calling in from the United States right now, and I'm glad to be a part of this incredible event. All right, so here is my contact information. As you can see, I'm on all social medias. I'm Tech Brad Wade or Brad Wade. Please reach out to me. Let's get connected on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My email is also there as well. And at the bottom, you see my website. A lot of the information and resources that I talk about, you can find on my website as well. And there's going to be another web address on the following screens. All right, so now let's explore Web3 and AI. We know right now we're living in an incredible time. You know, we're in the fourth industrial revolution, also known as Industry 4.0, and AI and Web3 all fall underneath that larger global category. Now, it's a really exciting time because Web3 comes from two previous iterations of the World Wide Web, versions 1 and 2. And Web3 we know is basically the third version of the World Wide Web. So the third revolution of the World Wide Web, we know it as 3.0 and Web3. So let's take a look at the previous two real quick. Now, Web 1.0 was back in the 1990s. I remember this time. I had a website development company that I started in 1994. It was a different time back then. We were basically just creating static images, static information, as you'll see. And when you were browsing the internet or the World Wide Web back in the 90s, you either were using Netscape as your browser or Internet Explorer. You know, these were the two popular browsers, and this was the first real browser war. Now, in the first part of the World Web industry, you know, Web 1.0, we had, as I mentioned, static content, limited user participation, meaning we're just getting information and reading information. And the third part is it's all centralized. This is all centralized information. Now, let's look at Web 2.0. You're either using that's from the 2000s to right now. We're kind of in a mix of time between Web 2.0 and 3.0 right now, so Web 3. So let's take a look at the web we're pretty familiar with, and then we're going to look at Web 3 and see what's really coming, what's being worked on. So right now we're using Google Chrome or Safari. Those are the two popular browsers right now. You know, Web 2.0, so it has dynamic content interactivity, you know, the websites and things that you're using now. You can even have websites with AR integration, you know, augmented reality integration to inside of them. A lot of interaction, we know that. User-generated content, we can now publish all kinds of stuff and generate our own content. All of us do it all the time. And it's also centralized platforms. So let's take a look at what Web 3.0 is now. So this is kind of where we're at now in the crossroads of new web, World Wide Web, how we want to use it, how it's structured. So one of the biggest things is decentralization, and we'll go into that even more. Most of you are probably familiar with it, but let's just go back and let's do a little bit of Web 3 education. So decentralization, tokenization, smart contracts, we're going to dive into that, user control and ownership, and interoperability. These are the basics of Web 3.0. But today, it's not just about Web 3.0. It's about Web 3 and AI integration, the convergence of the two. And we're going to take a look at that. So in order to do that, we got to look at AI. So let's look at some of the things. We're all very familiar with ChatGPT and a lot of different types of AI. Let's take a look at some of the things that AI is really good at. So AI is really good at pattern recognition. It's really good at surveying, looking at things, recognizing patterns, and offering information or suggestions. It's also good at natural language processing. We know that with all the, ChatGPT and, chat bots and everything else, we know how good it is at NLP. It's also good at image and video analysis. Facial rec is one of the things that comes to mind, but it's really, facial rec is just a small part of it. It's looking at products and imaging and looking for defects and, different things like that. It's also good at enhanced decision making. It can take a lot of the emotion out of things and can look at a big set of data and make decisions. It's also really good at repetitive and tedious tasks, which we know, AI and robotics, that's really part of the really big thing, is doing things over and over and over again, and things that maybe aren't very intriguing, so very tedious task. AI also does a really good job of increased efficiency and productivity. So let's take a look, because there are a few of them that really lend themselves to the synergy between Web3 and AI. Let's take a look. It's these three right here: repetitive and tedious task, enhanced decision-making, increased efficiency, and productivity. So let's dive into that a little more. So we have artificial intelligence in one hand, and we have Web3 in the other. Both are taking off at tremendous speeds. And there's a lot going on with, blockchain, crypto, tokenization, privacy, and AI and Web3 are really climbing super fast. So what if they got together and got married? What if they got together and had some really good synergy? Let's take a look at what that convergence of AI and Web3 would look like. So there it is, the convergence. Let's take a look. So one of the first things, as we mentioned, is decentralization. That's one of the big things that Web3 is really all about, is decentralization. Not having just a few select companies or entities in charge. It's about spreading things out and using, nodes and lots of different computers to, decentralize it. Well, there's a few different areas that we'll take a look at. One is data marketplaces, and let's look at that. So, Web3 promotes decentralization and data ownership. We know that. Well, now with AI can leverage this by creating decentralized marketplaces. What that means is users who own their own data and blockchain can grant permission for AI algorithms. It's right here. We can derive insights into this. So what this does is by, having, people who own their own data can jump in. This creates a more transparent and user-controlled data ecosystem. That's just the beginning. That's another good way that we can leverage AI in Web3. So that's just one, in data marketplaces. Okay, so that's data marketplaces. All right, so here's another one: identity and AI security. So looking at decentralization with identity and AI security. Well, we know Web3, it introduces decentralized identity solutions. Okay, now with AI systems, we can leverage these for secure and private user authentication. Okay, what this does is, by combining the two, this increases privacy and security. Look, and we know that is extremely important to what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. So using AI here really further promotes one of the big categories of Web3. So decentralization of identity and AI security. So now, what about AI governance? Okay, so we already know Web3 to decentralized governance models can extend to AI systems. Web3 is all about this. Okay, so what does that look like? So now, when we talk about using AI applications and making decisions about them, we as a group and a collective can now make decisions about that, not a central authority. And again, you're going to keep hearing this message over and over and over again. Big function of Web3 is decentralization. Well, now really looking at, combining AI to work within Web3, and it ends up increasing, a lot of different things: productivity, decentralization, doing data analysis, and so on. So this is just another good example of, AI governance. So now the collective, the group, can make decisions, about how we want to use AI and AI applications. All right. So as it says here, this includes a more inclusive and democratic decision-making process, which is, what Web3 is all about. All right, so now let's take a look at tokenization for AI services. Okay, so let's dive into that. Okay, so blockchain enables tokenization, which basically, equals ownership and access rights. That's really what we're talking about: blockchain ownership, access rights. So let's look, about AI services. So now we can tokenize AI services, and what this does is allows users to pay for AI functionality and AI, systems with tokens. So now we can build AI into the Web3 system, and we can use tokens to access this and use AI services, which is great. So we can just kind of plug it right into the system and make it even more beneficial. So as it says here, this equals a more decentralized and borderless system for accessing and utilizing AI capabilities. It's really, again, you're going to hear this over and over and over today. Really what I'm doing is sharing already what we know about Web3 and then adding AI into it. And what we're seeing is that adding AI into Web3, it's really just making it more robust, more secure, and really you'll see at the end, we're going to talk about the goals of it all and how they tie together. And when you combine AI into it, it really strengthens the whole system. All right, so now what about smart contracts and AI integration? So as you know, smart contracts are self-executing with predefined rules. All right, we already know that that's part of it. All right, so now when we plug in an AI system, so now what that allows us to do is we can analyze data a lot easier and a lot more manageable. We can use machine learning, predictive modeling, and we can integrate that to help us make even more intelligent and better decisions. Okay, so now we're already taking what Web3 is already good at, smart contracts, and then adding AI into it and saying, oh, let's analyze all of this data. Let's get more information, bring in some machine learning and predictive modeling and getting an idea. And now using all that extra information, we can make even better decisions. So here's an example. An AI-powered smart contract could automatically adjust insurance premiums based on changing risk factors. So we can have our AI system plugged in here, and it can, maneuver and it can make different, adjust different information based on risk factors that come in. And of course, this is just, one that, we can all relate to, in insurance. So that's just an example. And I try to put examples in as many of these as possible to kind of understand the AI Web3 integration and the convergence. All right, now this one's real fun. So AI oracles for real world data. So here's what Web3 already does. So it employs oracles to bring real world data onto the blockchain. All right, so that's great. We know that. But now let's use AI, because when we plug in the power of AI, and we know that I didn't go real deep into AI because, most of us have an idea of what that means. So when you plug AI and use an AI oracle, now we can do even more sophisticated analysis and predictions, using the different AI models. So here's an example. An AI oracle could create weather predictions for a decentralized agriculture application running on Web3. Okay, it could take all the information and it can make good weather predictions. Okay, so this is another example on how it can be used when we're taking oracles and adding an AI oracle to it, or AI systems and processes into this system. All right, so now personalized experiences. Okay, so Web3, okay, here we already know that, Web3 is already a user-centric approach, all right? Now, as I mentioned earlier, you saw that I talked about, AI, one of the things it's really good at is, adding personalized experiences. One of the things I talk about all the time when I'm doing AI talks is I talk about how AI is impacting our lives on a, multiple times a day. Before ChatGPT came out, I used to have to spend a lot of time on that. But just for reference, one of the things, if any of you are out there and you use any streaming services, like Netflix, Disney, Hulu. Those are some of the ones in North America, and I know they're global as well. But if you use any streaming services for content, YouTube, different things, a lot of times you get something recommended watch or suggested. Obviously that's AI. That's AI being built into their system to make something more personalized. What they're doing is they're checking out your watch history, how much time you're on something, and going and analyzing all of that big data that comes in. When I go and watch Netflix or something, it's starting to see what types of shows I like to watch. Well, it's building a data model around me. So now it's personalized things even more. Well, the nice thing is Web3 already is user-centric already. All right. And so now, but with AI and what it does, it's personalized experiences. Now we can really enhance that. And so, as I was just mentioning, so AI can build these algorithms and can analyze user behavior. Okay, I just mentioned that, using the Netflix example. So now what it can do is it can still provide tailored content and recommendations, enhancing the overall user experience. So really, it's talking about just applying these, AI algorithms to Web3. Okay, and all that comes with it. Look, we're still in the wild west with AI and even Web3, and so there's a lot of things that are going to be coming out, and we're going to see and we're going to experience and we're going to use them and we're going to give feedback and we're going to say, yeah, I like the way that works. And we as a community are also going to see things like, I don't like the way that works, or that, I'm not real fond of one of these applications, or just like UX and UI, every product has UX and UI built into it. And if both of them are really good, if the UX is really good, the user experience is really good, and the user interface is really good, then we don't even think about it. So if you have a good UX and a UI, we don't even think about the UX or UI. If something isn't working well, we don't interact it well, or its form factor doesn't feel correct, then that's a UX or a UI problem. So anyway, so now we're going to have AI going into Web3 to build a more personalized model, create better experiences, familiar experiences, all while adding to the security, the decentralization, the tokenization, user access, all of that on the back end. So it's going to have a lot going on. It's just really a wonderful convergence for both. All right, so interoperability across all platforms. So interoperability means can connect and exchange information without restriction. Okay, that means everything can work together. If you're talking about if something is agnostic, if something works on different web browsers, or if something works on iOS and also works on Android, that means it works with no restrictions. It also works on the same platform. Well, interoperability allows the same thing. So this is talking about connecting, exchanging information without restriction. So working together, AI and Web3 can collaborate to create interoperable systems that work together. So, all right, so here are the goals. Here are the goals of AI and Web3 working together. All right, so empower individuals. And again, I could be talking for hours on anything about this. So empower individuals, promote transparency, create a more inclusive and innovative digital environment. So we know that these are big ideas and really about what it is trying to accomplish to support Web3 and all that we want to. And again, this is part of a larger system, whether you want to call it Industry 4.0, IoT, Internet of Things, which falls under Industry 4.0, as we know. These are the goals that we're trying to accomplish with Web3 and then adding AI into it. Empower individuals, promote transparency, create a more inclusive and innovative digital environment. This is just the beginning. You won't believe what you see that's coming. I'm currently at one of the big conferences in North America right now, all about this. And the stuff I have seen in the last 2 days is absolutely mind-blowing. So it's all coming. So in summary, AI and Web3 together bring intelligence to decentralized applications, making them smarter and more user-friendly. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, I know this was like drinking through a fire hose, a lot of information. If you have other questions, if you have questions about, Web3 in general or AI in general, or if you have questions about Industry 4.0, if you're not familiar with Industry 4.0, if maybe you've been living in this system for a while, check out Industry 4.0. It's the fourth industrial revolution that we're currently in right now, and there's 9 categories underneath it. AI, autonomous vehicles are part of it, as well as like digital twins, simulation, cybersecurity. All of it's tied together. All of this is tied together, a part of the bigger system. So again, thank you to Dilip and his team. Thank you to Dev3, everybody joining me today and watching. I look forward to speaking with everyone more. Reach out, let's set up a time to chat, and I look forward to working with all of you. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon. All right, thanks everyone.